I mean, it's not. I don't really like talking about other people. Everybody here knows. Everybody outside of here knows. Everybody in the stands knows. Everybody above us knows what he deserves and what he should be getting paid. You know what I mean? And they know what to do to make it right before week 1. We know he's gonna be out there at the end of the day. He knows he's gonna be out there at the end of the day, and everybody upstairs better know he better be out there by Wednesday. You know what I mean? He's a big factor of this defense. Shit, he's the one that really starts with him and Derek. That's where it starts with, and they'll make it right. That's not something I know. It's just something that needs to happen. It's something that needs to happen. Wouldn't you be worried if Brian Burns isn't out there? Exactly. Oh, they gotta make something right. Like I said, hopefully they figure something out by Wednesday, so we get him out there. Wednesday? What? That's a day of him not practicing. We need him every day. We need it. We need it by Wednesday. I need to see him in pass by Wednesday. I need to see my brother on that field. And we know what type of guy Brian is. Brian is family first. We're his brothers. So he's going to be here regardless. He'll be out that field regardless, practicing or non-practicing. He wants to be around us. We want him to be around us. We love him. You know what I mean? We all got his back.
As you just heard, the sentiments of Carolina Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson from this past Monday to get Brian Burns signed were felt around the organization and around the Charlotte community. However, at this time, it is unclear whether Brian Burns will start today. He did travel with the team, but there's no further information about that right now. So we'll have to see how that goes. But now it's game day and time for the Panthers to focus on the task at hand, which is the division rival Atlanta Falcons, who feature one of the most powerful rushing attacks in the league and a retooled defense under new defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen. And all of this on the road. It's the first time the Panthers have opened up the season on the road since 2017, and they have not faced a division rival to open the season since 2014. So some added pressure will be felt in both locker rooms today. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Carolina Pro Football Report on ADSN. I'm Kevin Tolbert here from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome to Week 1 of NFL football. After the Matt Rule era ended, David Tepper moved quickly to replace him, and in a controversial move, brought in Frank Reich as the new head coach. Since that time, Reich and Scott Fitterer have rebuilt the coaching staff as well as the roster, and it all starts with the #1 pick that Fitterer masterfully engineered from the Chicago Bears. Since the draft, all eyes have been on rookie QB Bryce Young. From training camp to the preseason, we've seen the poise of the young rookie quarterback and even got a glimpse of his ability to manage a successful scoring drive during the final preseason game where he connected with Adam Thielen for his first pro touchdown completion, but haven't yet seen what he'll do in a full game. And on the other concerns, whether the limited snaps during the preseason will be enough to prepare him. Frank Reich says he has had an extensive workload that should prepare him for that. As far as Young is concerned, it's something he feels comfortable with leading into his first regular season start of his career.
It's definitely exciting. It's a blessing to be here. With it around the corner, it's surreal. But at the same time, there's so much, energy and focus that just goes into the game plan, goes into trying to prepare to get ready. Myself, us as a team, we're all in that mindset. So, of course, I'm super excited, and it's definitely a blessing to be in this situation. But obviously, it's a results-based business, and we want to have success. And for us to be able to have that, we have to earn that, right? And that's by locking in, grinding throughout the week, making sure we're focused. So, really all my energy has gone to that.
Now today's matchup has it all. It has the rookie story. It's got the defensive battles. It's got the three-headed running attack, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But it has nostalgia as well. Frank Reich coaching this team as head coach for the first time since he played quarterback as the team's first signal caller, and also getting to do that with Dom Capers. Wright completed 23 of his 44 passes for 320 yards in that opening game and 2 touchdowns. His 329 passing yards. It's still second most by the Panthers quarterbacks in an opening week matchup. Now he's coaching for the first time. Now he's coaching his first game here in Atlanta, and by his side is the guy who coached him during that era some 28 years ago, Dom Capers. Hopefully that ending will be in favor of the Panthers and not the 23-20 overtime loss that Reich suffered in his first start. So there will definitely be a lot of nostalgia flying around the building as they take the field today.
This is a cool moment for me, but like I've said a couple times that, I'm not going to make more of it than there is. I've got so many other things on my mind, but I do envision at some point, looking Dom Capers in the eye, shaking his hand or giving him a hug or something and saying, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool that he and I are back here together to open the season, and it'll be a great challenge.
Now, the last time these two teams met, the Carolina Panthers did come out on top 25-15. After a series of issues at quarterback, the Carolina Panthers started P.J. Walker, who passed for just over 100 yards, but they more than made up for it on the ground as Deontay Foreman, now with the Chicago Bears, had 31 rushing attempts for 130 yards and a touchdown. And it was also the first time we saw what Laviska Shenault brought to the table, who will be looked upon today for some high production. Now, we mentioned the output from rookies today. There will be 3 rookies starting on offense today. One of those rookies, Jonathan Mingo, who the banged-up wide receiver room will be looking to get a lot out of. So he'll have to step up and play as a seasoned veteran. But most of the guys in the locker room already feel that Jonathan Mingo has that capability, that he's shown that throughout the preseason, and he feels comfortable as well.
Once you get on the field, they got to go out the window. It's time to play ball then, so I'll be fine once I get on the field. Football is the next man up. Injuries is part of the game, so everybody got to be ready. I'm always going to be called on, so I'm prepared to do what I need to do.
But where the battle really starts is up front on the offensive line. Chandler Zavala, rookie, getting his first start of his NFL career. On the other side, you have Ike Ekwonu, who's in his second year, but he'll be expected to step his game up today because he has the keys to Bryce Young's safety.
I'm Ike Ekwonu, offensive line, Carolina Panthers. I think just having a full off season overall just did wonders for my physical and mental health. Being able to have a full, OTA season as well, coming back with all the veterans, we had pretty much a full group there. So being able to work with them as early as April, as early as March, I think definitely helped my development, just building that consistency. Bryce has been great. Obviously you see the arm talent, you see the accuracy and the decision making, but I feel like some of the intangibles like his leadership have really, come to show out in this camp a little bit. We got flashes of that during OTAs, but really being able to refocus guys, really being able to just, lead guys in the right direction, I think is definitely a tribute that Bryce has. My footwork more than anything, being consistent in that, not letting fatigue be a factor, not letting my fundamentals break down. I feel like that's definitely a step forward that I took this offseason. I just have a higher floor going into this camp, than I did last year. I just know a little bit more confident in my technique and, just picking up the playbook that much faster. So I really feel like my approach hasn't really changed. I just know a little bit more, just feel a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, the new staff has been so great, just helping us learn the playbook, putting in plays that really, back the strength of this offense. We're definitely excited to keep working with, Coach Brown and, back, year 2 with Coach Kempen, definitely excited to keep growing.
Hey, 10 toes, I'ma never miss, boy, I'm locked in, never take a loss in the sport, boy, I'm top 10.
Yeah, I think, that D-line helped a little bit when it comes, I went both ways of high school, so when it comes to that, competitive stamina, I feel like it definitely went a long way. Even, hand fighting a little bit on offensive line, being able to move, laterally side to side is something I can attribute a little bit to defensive line as well. So I think both sides of the trenches kind of work hand in hand.
One of the other big improvements headed into this new season, safety Von Bell, who brings the much-needed veteran presence to the secondary, as Jeremy Chin has been moved around to help bring him closer to the line of scrimmage to be more dynamic. J.C. Horn and Dante Jackson are both healthy to start the season. Now, your run stoppers, Shaq Thompson, Frankie Louvu, they'll be expected to get a lot of production out of today against that three-headed rushing attack that we talked about. But as Shaq Thompson mentioned earlier in the week, everybody has a clean slate.
We don't know what they're going to do. That was the tendencies last year. That's what they showed a little bit during preseason, but we don't know what they're going to do. They could come out there and be a whole pass-first type of team, you know what I mean? So we just got to go out there, play our rules of football, play our brand of football, our philosophies that we was taught in OTAs and training camp, and we'll be straight. You know what I mean? We're both going to see looks that we have not seen before. But, you know, they know football and we know football, so it's going to be a game of X's and O's, and who's going to go out there and compete, who's going to go out there and play hard, physical, tough, smart, situational masters. It's all going to be all that, you know what I mean, week one. So it'll be a fun one to watch.
All right, now on to the Dirty Birds. With more on that, let's go to Antonio Ramos, Carolina Panthers Spanish radio analyst.
Hey Kevin, so finally, first game of the season is here upon us, a new era of the Carolina Panthers football with Coach Reich and Bryce Young. Divisional road game against the Atlanta Falcons. Not an easy place to start your season. With a rookie quarterback, Carolina has only won 8 times in Atlanta historically. So let's focus on what the Panthers should do against this Falcons team. There is no secret that probably the most dynamic player in the draft will be playing in the NFC South for the Atlanta Falcons. Bijan Robinson in this Arthur Smith run-heavy attack could be a problem for Carolina early on this season, as the Panthers are still, learning the new 3-4 defensive scheme under Eji Rivera, and the lack of depth in the middle of the defense could be an issue trying to stop the run against the third best rushing attack from last season. Panthers, they have to be very disciplined. Gap accountability is crucial, so players like Shaq Thompson and Frankie Louvu can have better tackling lanes during this game. We still haven't seen enough tape from second-year quarterback Desmond Ridder. He has some interesting tools to work with in the passing game with big pass catchers like Drake London and Kyle Pitts. That will be a great matchup to see with Jeremy Chin and J.C. Horn in that secondary. On the other side of the ball, defensively, Atlanta added 11 new players. They needed reinforcements there after finishing last season as the 6th worst unit in total yards allowed with 362 per game. So experienced players like David Onjemata, Calais Campbell, Caden Ellis, Bud Dupree will try to have an immediate impact in that front seven, but probably the most impactful signing for this Atlanta Falcons defense is former Bengals safety Jesse Bates. And Jeff Okudah will miss the game as well with a foot injury after being traded from the Lions to Atlanta earlier this season. Carolina's lack of speed in wide receiver room with DJ Chark out and Adam Thielen questionable will be, something to consider there. And offensive coordinator Thomas Brown has to be very creative trying to put players in open space against this talented Falcons secondary so Bryce can operate from the pocket. I think players like Miles Sanders and tight end Hayden Hurst will be key factors in today's game. So, recapping, stopping Bijan Robinson and the Falcons' heavy running scheme, protecting Bryce Young so he can spread the ball around a little bit, rely on your tight ends and your running backs will be the recipe for success today at the inaugural season game in Atlanta.
All right, thanks, Antonio. Now, it would not be a complete pregame unless we got out into the community and showed you some of the most iconic places. This week, we picked the Busy Bee Cafe here in Atlanta. It's an iconic restaurant, amazing food. I'm resisting the urge to lick my fingers, but here's a look at what they have at the Busy Bee Cafe.
1947 by Lucy Jackson. She was a self-taught cook from Carrollton, but she had a desire to own her own business. The only business started during segregation that still exists in its original location and still thrives and still receives worldwide notoriety for its food. They were late getting lunch ready one day, and they had a regular customer named Sonny. And Sonny says, "You all are busy as bees in there." And he said, Miss Lucy held her head up and said, "That's it, that's what I'm gonna call it, Busy Bee." My father purchased this restaurant in 1981. I came here in 1987 to help my father, who was ill and could no longer run the business. So I came in at the bottom, learned everything. They had an exceptional crew here. They pretty much laid the foundation for me, taught me everything about Southern cooking, the food, the seasons the vegetable goes through, and the consistency of serving a product like this, and that was the most important thing, the consistency of it. They always sold original Southern cooking. When I came in, I expanded the menu, and not only did I expand it, I actually looked at each individual item to see, hey, how can we make it better? So fried chicken was something that I knew, the crispiness of a cast iron skillet and the moist and juiciness of chicken being covered when it's fried. So we expanded our menu, and our fried chicken lives up to what we say is authentic Southern cooking. I think one of the most important parts of the history for Busy Bee was from the original owner, Lucy Jackson. According to her son, there was a missionary that came up on the street, did not have any money, and wanted something to eat. So Miss Lucy sat down, ate with him, and once he got up and got ready to leave, he told her this place would always be busy and this place would always be blessed. During my tenure here, I would feed Dr. Lowry, Tyrone Brooks, Jesse Jackson when he comes to town, Andrew Young when he comes to town.
It's amazing. You get to meet people that I thought I probably would never ever meet unless I worked here. So I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of politicians, a lot of rappers, doctors, lawyers. This is historic, so if you hadn't been to Busy Bee, you would want to come here.
According to Miss May, Dr. Martin Luther King would eat here, and he would eat fried chicken, but the civil rights leaders, until their deaths, still continue to come. Our collard greens would be the top vegetable. Our collard greens, macaroni and cheese, we use fresh collard greens. They're cooked slow. The candied yams and the macaroni and cheese are virtually on every plate. The first waitress that was here when I first came in 1981 was Miss Julia May Wardlaw. She worked for the original owner. She would have been, if Miss Lucy was the heart and the kitchen was the heart of Busy Bee, Miss May was his soul. She was known all over Atlanta for May at the Busy Bee. I still have the commitment to what she started of authentic Southern cooking, understanding the product we make and being able to deliver it consistently. Because people relate food to family, to things that are familiar with them. And you know, if a grandparent prepared it or an aunt prepared it, the love that goes in it, because it has to be slow. It's not something that you can cook fast.
Well, that wraps up the Carolina Pro Football Report here on ADSN. We'll see you after the game.